3 years after the launch of the AirPods Pro, Apple has returned with the second generation, and on the surface, they seem like an incremental upgrade, but in reality, they're a much bigger improvement than you would think. So in this video, we're going to unbox the new AirPods Pro, set them up, discuss the new features, and most importantly, compare them to the first generation AirPods Pro, as well as the AirPods 3. So not only does the packaging look similar to the original AirPods Pro, but the price and the color are also exactly the same as the AirPods Pro that came out in 2019. So we have a $250 price tag, and they do only come in this classic white color, no black this year, unfortunately. And on the back side of the packaging, we have our pull tabs. Let's go ahead and pull these tabs and open up the new AirPods Pro. Take the top off right here. And then under our pamphlet, we have our AirPods Pro. And then under that, we do have some additional things to look at here. So we have our USB-C to Lightning cable, and then underneath that we have our ear tips, which there's actually a new change this year with the ear tips, and that is that we have a new extra small size. So we have extra small, small, and large, and the medium size is going to be on the AirPods Pro when we open the case. So here are the AirPods Pro second generation, and on the surface, like I mentioned, nothing really looks different from the first generation AirPods Pro. So here is the first generation AirPods Pro case, but if you look a little bit closer, you will start to see the differences starting at the bottom down here. And that's because we now have speakers on the AirPods Pro case. So this newly designed charging case not only has built-in speakers for playing sounds via Find My if you ever lose it, but it also has the U1 chip, which allows you to locate it if you lose it. The other major change on the outside is the lanyard loop on the right-hand side of the AirPods Pro case. And this is going to allow you to strap your AirPods to a backpack, to a purse, to luggage, whatever you want to strap it to, and that's going to help you even further prevent losing this case. Now, the case is also IPX4 sweat and water resistant, and you can even engrave your Memoji onto the case free of charge this year. And opening up the AirPods Pro case for the first time, you will be greeted with a flashing LED light along with a sound from the speakers on the bottom, and you will also see a pop-up on your phone indicating that it wants to pair to your iPhone. Now, taking a look at the actual buds themselves, you will notice a pretty big difference from the original AirPods Pro right away. And don't mind these black tips, by the way, these are third party. These are not how the AirPods Pro came. They came just like this, but you will see that now the skin detection sensor, it moved from the bottom on the original AirPods Pro to right here on the inside on the AirPods Pro second generation. And then the acoustic vent was moved to the top of the AirPods Pro, and it's also a good bit smaller now. But the acoustic ventilation on the back remains the same size. Now these AirPods are powered by the H2 chip, which has double the amount of transistors as the H1 chip, which of course came in the original AirPods Pro. So this allows for not only improved audio, but also improved noise cancellation and transparency mode. So the combination of a new low distortion driver and amplifier along with Apple's advanced computational audio leads to richer bass at even lower volumes and crystal clear clarity across almost every frequency. Now, as for noise cancellation, I'm really excited about this. Apple claims that these will deliver up to double the amount of noise canceled over the previous generation. That is insane, and I cannot wait to test that out. And then the improvements to transparency mode are pretty much just as impressive because Apple is introducing adaptive transparency mode with these new AirPods Pro. This enhanced version of transparency mode is going to save your eardrums when there are loud noises going on around you because it's going to be able to dynamically adjust down the harsh environmental noise like police sirens, construction noises, loud cars. All of that is going to be adjusted dynamically on the fly thanks to the H2 chip and the on-device processing. And even with all of these improvements, the AirPods Pro 2 get better battery life than the originals. So Apple is claiming up to 6 hours of listening time with active noise cancellation enabled. That is a 33% increase over the first gens. And then with the charging case, you're going to get up to 30 hours of total listening time. And that is a huge increase of 6 hours over the original Pros. And like I mentioned earlier, you can also now charge the case with an Apple Watch charger. So that's convenient. You don't have to have a separate cable for everything. And then on top of the better battery life, the better noise cancellation, the better transparency mode, we also now have touch controls on the AirPods. So this allows you to swipe to adjust the volume up and down, in addition to the other gestures that we've known for a while now, like switching between transparency mode and noise cancellation, along with skipping to the next track or play and pause. And this is such a long overdue feature. I mean, I cannot tell you how many times I've wanted to adjust the volume, but I'm on like a bike ride or I have my hands full or something like that, and I cannot get to my phone to lower the volume. So it's really nice to be able to do that on the fly now with the touch controls on the AirPods themselves. And the skin detection sensor is also nice to have. I've really been loving that on the 3rd generation AirPods. So that's going to be a nice improvement over the sensor that was on the original AirPods Pro that did not rely on heat, only on something touching it real close. And now let's connect these to our iPhone, because I do want to show you some additional features with the AirPods Pro 2 and iOS 16. All right, so we are paired up, and you can see at the top of our settings, we now have a separate section specifically for our AirPods. So we can tap into that, and you will see the graphic of your AirPods Pro 2 up top. We have our automatic ear detection right there, and we also have a new feature right here called personalized spatial audio. So if you tap on that, it will basically walk you through how it works. If you tap right there once again, it's going to say you can use your iPhone camera to personalize spatial audio for the shape of your ears. And what this does is that it precisely tunes the surround sound to your ears specifically based on the shape of your ears, because, you know, the sound that we perceive and the direction it comes from is unique to each and every person based on that size and shape of your head and ears. So this is going to make you have the best sounding quality possible from these AirPods Pro. Now keep in mind, this is an iOS 16 feature, so it still will work on the 1st generation AirPods Pro along with the AirPods 3 and AirPods Max. Now let's move on to the big comparison, because all of these new features and changes sound cool in theory, but if I cannot actually tell a difference in real world usage, then I don't care. I'm not going to waste my money on the AirPods Pro 2. So we're going to be comparing the AirPods Pro 2 to the AirPods 3 and the original AirPods Pro. So we're going to be testing out sound in general, like I'm just going to play music and see which AirPods sound best. I'm also going to do a noise cancellation test, a transparency mode test, and then I'm going to see how useful the touch controls are on the AirPods Pro 2. All right, so we're going to start with the original AirPods. All right, so that was 1 minute of this song. I'm going to listen to the next minute on the AirPods 3. All right, so that was a minute with the AirPods 3, and I definitely think these sound better than the AirPods Pro in terms of just overall sound quality. So now let's move on to the AirPods Pro 2. These definitely feel much better in the ear. They're definitely more comfortable than the AirPods 3. Oh man, these sound incredible. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, the AirPods Pro 2 definitely sound the best of the bunch. The bass is ridiculous on the AirPods Pro 2. That's a big reason I wanted to test a song like this, is so I could hear the bass along with pretty much every range, the lows, the mids, and the highs. AirPods Pro 2, easily the winner here. All right, so now I want to do a transparency mode test. So I can only do this between the original AirPods Pro and the AirPods Pro 2 because the AirPods 3 do not support transparency mode. So we're going to test transparency mode versus adaptive transparency mode, and I'm going to try to make a loud noise to see the difference. Okay, so this is Brandon from the future, and after using adaptive transparency mode for a few days in grocery stores, sidewalks, and other areas where noise levels can get pretty high, I have noticed a difference with adaptive transparency mode, but the sound needs to be really loud. Like basic noises that you can make in your house or in your room will not make a difference. But when loud cars are passing by and when sirens are going off, that's when the reduction comes in. I also noticed that when I talk in transparency mode, like to a cashier or just to another person, I cannot hear myself as easily as the original Pros, which is a good thing. It's kind of less tinny and less annoying than it was on the regular Pros. Now we're going to test that noise cancellation and see if it's actually twice as good over the original AirPods Pro. So we're going to start with the original AirPods Pro. All right, so these are in my ear right now. We're going to switch over to noise cancellation. We're not going to play any music. I'm just going to talk and kind of make some loud noises and see how much I can hear it with the AirPods Pro 1 versus the AirPods Pro 2. All right, so I just tested it with no music playing. Now I'm going to play a little bit of music. All right, so I got a good idea of the AirPods Pro 1st generation. Now let's try out the AirPods Pro 2. Oh yeah, I can instantly tell already. All right, so yeah, the noise cancellation is definitely improved on the AirPods Pro 2nd generation. It's really hard to measure just how much better. You know, it doesn't feel like twice as good of noise cancellation to me. It does feel like an improvement, but I don't know if I'd say twice as good. It's really hard to measure. However, when I started playing music, that's when I noticed an even bigger difference in the noise cancellation. So I really could not hear anything when I was actually playing music with noise cancellation turned on. So definitely going to notice a difference in the noise cancellation with the new AirPods Pro. And then the last thing I want to test out are the touch controls on each AirPod. So I want to see just how useful this is for adjusting the audio. All right, so right away I have some impressions I want to share. So first off, you do the touch controls right here on this little indented piece. So it's like on the inside of your ear. So you have to reach a little bit. Unfortunately, you can't just, swipe down right here on the fully back end of the AirPod. That would be nice, but you cannot do that. You have to go on the inner part where the indentation is and then swipe down. And you'll notice that each swipe gives you a little bit of volume. So it goes in increments, and you'll also get like a little haptic feedback feel and a little bit of a noise in your AirPod every time that you turn the volume up or down. And it's only in the specific earpod or AirPod that you're changing the volume on. But so far, I love it. I mean, I like that it's not just full on, like you can go all the way up or all the way down. Otherwise, I could see it being an accident where you accidentally put the volume all the way up or all the way down. So I like how they are like incremental increases or decreases in the audio, because most of the time you don't need to turn it all the way down. Otherwise, you would just press pause. So yeah, I'm already loving the touch controls on this, and I cannot wait to really actually use this in a real world scenario. And of course, I will tell you more about that in my upcoming reviews. And then just for a final test, just to make sure there's no fluke, I want to listen to another song in a different genre and see if the AirPods Pro 2 sound just as good as they did on the previous song. All right, so yes, the sound quality is just as good as I imagined. So definitely better sound quality just in general over the AirPods Pro and over the AirPods 3. So overall, I am very impressed with the new AirPods Pro, a lot more than I thought I would be. And I actually think that a lot of first generation AirPods Pro owners might want to consider upgrading this year. So stay tuned for my full review, where I will be testing battery life extensively, along with noise cancellation and adaptive transparency mode on airplanes, while shopping, and in many more real life scenarios.